can introduce yourself to the Brothers Online viewers for us.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Thomas Fitch, born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Attended 42nd Elementary, Audubon Middle School, Crenshaw High School. From there, graduated, went to West LA Community College, and transferred to Clark University in Atlanta, Georgia, with two of my best friends. I think first off, I had a good upbringing. I had both of my parents in the household. I probably was one of the only individuals in the area that actually had that. But my dad actually played a father role amongst a lot of my friends at the same time. So that was definitely key. They definitely looked up to my pops, and my pops taught them a lot. Having him in the household played a huge role. And at the same time, I always started thinking about the long-term play. You know what I'm saying? I learned from other people's mistakes. Even so, I didn't have to make them. You know what I mean? I just watched a lot of my friends do certain things and fall down certain, certain paths. And I was just like, look, you don't got to do X, Y, and Z. We can do something else and still get a better goal out of it. But at that time, it's just instant gratification. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest. I was all about girls, money, and my education, and that really kind of helped. Women kind of helped me stay out of trouble, honestly, in the crazy world. If I wasn't spending so much time with them, I probably would have been spending a little bit more time with some of the homies, and doing some things that probably that ultimately land them in certain places. I never kind of pushed my friends away. I always stayed around my friends, regardless of what hood they were from. I grew up in a melting pot of gang culture. So around 42nd, some of my friends from 42nd, either went to Audubon or went to Fauché or went to another school. And then after Audubon, most of my friends went to either Dorsey or Crenshaw. So I knew friends that were Bloods, I knew friends that were Crips, I knew friends that were from Hoover. And at the same time, I never lost their friendship regardless of what hood they're from. You know what I'm saying? I would still stay close to them, just saying, look, I don't really feel the need to gang bang. You my homie, I got your back regardless. All these other guys, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? If something happens with you, I'm down with you. But at the same time, I really just looked at the bigger picture, man. Look, I had to really look at the bigger picture on what I wanted to see. You know what I mean? You drive up Vernon, you go from the hood straight up to, the richest African American community within a mile. You know what I mean? You could be on Vernon and Western, you drive a mile up, you in Baldwin Hills, looking at these $1 million houses. So that kind of played a piece of my brain that I knew that it was possible to get something more. You know what I mean? And I had to try to study what these people did to get to those places. Some of them did come from gangbang backgrounds, some of them didn't. But at the same time, I felt like, look, I wanted to be a light in my community to basically, I'm relatable. And I have individuals that I know from different hoods, and I have individuals that don't know what gangbanging is at all. So it was all about balance. That's something that I learned at a young age, is balance. And that kind of helped, honestly. I say Tupac showed me that at a young age. You know what I'm saying? He showed me balance. He showed me, dear mama, Brenda's got a baby, but he also showed me hit him up and, certain other things. So that showed me you could play both places, and you can combine the two, yin and yang. So I kind of had that instilled in me at a young age through my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yin and yang, balance, man.
Okay, were you involved in any extracurricular activities as a youth? Outside of just academics?
My extracurricular activity was hanging with the homies. That was my extracurricular activity, regardless of whether they're from 40s, Fodus, 60s, Hoover, or VNG. I knew a lot of individuals from different areas, and that was my extracurricular activity. Outside of that, at an early age, I love money. I didn't come from a home that had a lot of money to just give out. I didn't have like a set balance or things of that nature. So as soon as I was able to work, I started getting a job. I think at 13 and a half, I was working at Cleaner Greens, sweeping alleys in different hoods. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With my little green hat and my green shirt.
There you go. That was something else from structure and economics and being involved in the community. And tying the two together.
Exactly. After getting a few of those checks in, I liked it, and then started as soon as I was able to get a job right out of middle school. Yeah, started stuff like my first job was Subway. I was at Crenshaw working at Subway, I'll take the 108 bus.
So your extracurricular activity was economics and economic building, and that's the career you ultimately became.
Yeah. Ultimately, I saw at a young age that
dealing with money
was very important. You know what I'm saying? I had different figures in my family that I saw make millions, and I had different figures in my family that I didn't really see make too much.
So,
and I think it came to that. The most important key was the financial literacy. And I honestly feel like that's what drew me into the industry that I am now, because there's not a lot of African Americans in my field teaching this to people in our community.
Towards economics, how did you bypass the economic lures of your current environment as a youth, the pimping, the drug dealing, the robbing, and stay focused on actually achieving your academic requirements to go to college, and also your economic sustainability and foundation you was building as a young man?
Honestly, I didn't
become a future business owner.
Honestly, at a young age, I had so many different influences. I really didn't get away from the lure. You know, I got attached to the lure and found myself in certain places. But at the same time,
can you speak towards that?
Just put it like this: I never got caught. So you know, when some people look at me and understand, like, you know, he didn't do this, I just realized that it was an easy way to do things, and when I got to a certain point, I know I'm going to get out. You know,
exactly.
That's the point. I think a lot of individuals get trapped into it and make it an everyday life, everyday hustle and bustle, and that's when things can get derailed. You know, that's when certain paths.
So you have experience in the street. So it's not just like you speaking from a point of view that for somebody who hasn't actually walked the streets, been in those alleys, been around those people, and doing that, and you being able to rise above that.
Yes,
as an example.
You know, my immediate circle. You know what I'm saying? It's my immediate circle, and I love my immediate circle, my core individuals that's in my life right now, and you know, we've taught each other things, whether it's intentional or unintentional, and at the same time, I've learned things from them, and they necessarily learned things from me. So some things that I didn't do, I learned through those experiences of what they've done. You know what I mean? So
what, as a person of experience at economics and economic building at a young age, what is something you would tell a youth, or also a person, an adult in general, how to build economic sustainability for a youth, and also coming out of economic state of lack for somebody else?
Yeah, the number one thing I'll tell individuals is learn that you are your number one asset. Once you realize that you are your number one asset, it starts with you. You can't really start to invest or, you know, do certain other things if you don't realize the power that's within yourself. You will only go as far as your discipline will take you. So I think it always comes to the mind frame of wanting better, of knowing there is better. And once you dig that deep inside of your soul, you're going to start to see certain progression in your life that, you ultimately want. In the world of financial literacy, I really feel it's imperative that we learn at a younger age. They don't teach us these things in middle school. They don't teach us these things in high school. And they don't teach us these things when we get to college.
How important is that,
it's
do you feel, in your opinion, financial literacy for our youth and our people on a collective scale is?
I think financial literacy is the one true tool to get our community to the next level that it needs to be. You really can't talk about buying a building unless you're talking about you have a current savings. You can't talk about purchasing a home unless you talk about how to establish good credit. You can't talk about wanting a good car without a good credit as well. And really start to understand that the power of a dollar is real. Us as African Americans, we have a $1.3 trillion buying power, spending power, but we only make 1.2. So that other $100 million, where is that coming from? That's coming from credit, that we're spending what we don't have.
Yes, sir.
So we need to figure out ways and tools to implement where we can get that away from understanding the buying power that we have and understanding how that fruit of labor can, truly empower the African American communities. Our dollar lasts, a couple of hours in the African American communities compared to Jewish or Caucasian or Hispanic communities, and we need to realize that the power is in our hands. Establishing a form of community economic empowerment is the true form to kind of get us to the next level, in my opinion. Just always ask myself, what would have happened if Black Wall Street never burnt down?
Wow.
Like, where would we be as a community if Black Wall Street was still established?
That's
Understanding that a lot of more millionaires came out of that time in the nation were inside of Black Wall Street than anywhere else. So that's
Let's wrap our minds around the gravity of that statement.
Yeah.
So, 2 more questions, sir. Did you experience the deaths that so many of us of us have of our peers at a young age in South Central? And if so, how did you not let that consume you or turn you further into the streets as an outlet, man? You feel me? How did you not do that as a young brother?
Yeah, that hit home. I grew up with a young brother from preschool, elementary, middle school, and a little bit of high school, and that was my best friend growing up from those young ages. We were real tight. Spending the night, kids spending the night at each other's house every weekend. Going out, parents knowing each other. It was real tight. Once he went to another middle school around 8th, 9th grade, kind of separated a little bit, but he came back and he enrolled in Crenshaw. At that time, he got, became a part of the gang. It really didn't matter because I knew the same individuals in that gang from growing up in 42nd Audubon, so it was just like they was all my friends. But yeah, down the line, got into some trouble. Well, it was at an event and, he got shot, he got killed. You know what I'm saying? That hit home, that hurt me a lot. That was somebody that was my first friend that I knew. You know what I'm saying? That was my first friend. Yeah, that was my first friend. Man. First friend. And he passed away right out of, I think I was a year out of high school. Like right out of high school, he passed away. And I still know his pops, still know his mom, still know his brothers. And, it hurt. It hurt tough. You know what I'm saying? Individuals around that age range, you know what I'm saying? It messed with me mentally. Definitely messed with me mentally, and then after that,
trauma.
Yeah, it was trauma. I actually shot right before I went to college.
Yeah.
I got shot in February 2005.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I got accepted to Clark maybe a month after that. You know what I'm saying? And that was it's a gift and a curse in a sense, just for the simple fact that at that time I was on the fence of whether I want to go to the school or not. I don't know if I want to leave LA. This is all I know. I got a good job. I got a girl. I'm working at Home Depot. I got a 2-door Tahoe. Basically, I'm being complacent. You know what I'm saying? And God had something bigger for me. But still, I was on the fence if I wanted to leave or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because it was just a
fear
of unknown. Yeah, fear of unknown. And then when I got shot, that was just like, God, like, it's time to go.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
how did you get past that, man? There's a lot of people in the NC suffer from PTSD, and a lot of other things like that. How did you not let that deter you and still stay focused and funnel that into building what you have now?
It took some time. PTSD is real. Post-traumatic street syndrome. It's a post-traumatic street syndrome. It's real. Like what we go through in the streets really messes us up mentally when we really don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And I try to explain that to young brothers that what you do now will last you for the rest of your life. So try to understand the decisions that you make. Once I got shot, I really didn't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I jumped right into school. Thank God I had my best friends with me. You know what I'm saying? We both applied to the same college. You know what I'm saying? And it was love. You know what I mean? I had a friend because things that he was doing. He went to Atlanta and said, "Hey, we should enroll at Clark Atlanta University." I don't even know what Clark Atlanta University is. I've never been outside this box. The boxes of Los Angeles is the 110, the 10 freeway, the 405, and the 105. A lot of us don't even get outside of that. We're in that side of that bubble. But at the same time, he said, "Hey, let's go here." Let's enroll in school. We enrolled. We transferred. Went to Clark Atlanta University. He was the first person to get accepted. He called me from prison to tell me he got accepted. You know what I'm saying? That's how real it was. He called me from prison. I'm like, dang, I didn't get accepted yet. He called me. You got to collect call. I got accepted to prison. I'm like, I got accepted to Clark. I'm like, dang. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't got my acceptance letter yet. Let me use yours. You don't need it. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things. And really, it just honestly having my brothers around me really helped me at that time to go through something like that. I really, when I turned 21, I was in my dorm room because I was older than most kids around that time in college because I went to community college for 2 years before I went to Clark. I turned 21 in my dorm room, and I didn't do at 12:02, I just sat there and burst in tears, real life, because I was, once I turned 21, had a little mental breakdown that I actually made it to that age, and saw a lot of friends that didn't make it to that age, and just being appreciative to where I was at in my life at that time. And then, a few months later, I had both of my brothers with me. Just amazing feat. We did everything together. We players Omega Psi Phi together. They majored in accounting. I majored in finance. Once we moved back to LA, we opened up a tax and accounting firm in the community that we grew up in. Right in the heart of the community that we grew up in, that we played around. Crenshaw Clark Financial. Prior to that, I was working in banking in Atlanta, and I used to always wear bow ties, and a young lady walked up to me and said she wanted to buy a bow tie, a little white lady. I'm like, yeah, I made it myself. She was like, oh, I'd like to buy a few. I'm like, oh, snaps. I'm like, no, this is Tommy Hilfiger. She was like, oh, well, you should think about starting your own bow tie company. I said, you know what, I should. And then I started figuring out a name, and I called it the bow tie. So I make all handmade bow ties. I sew them myself. I learned how to sew, picked up a sewing machine. Went to a sewing class. I was the only male in the sewing class, black male at that, and taught myself a trade. Something I could call my own. Because I think that's very important, regardless of what it is. Something that you can call your own is powerful.
Wow.
And I'm all for working corporate America a little bit. Be the spook that's sat by the door. Learn all the information you can from a company and then try to branch off and do it yourself. I think that's a powerful thing because no one is coming to our communities to teach us these things. And so not a lot of people that go to college and come back to their community that they grew up in and kind of educate, the masses. And that's what we're here for. We're here to make an impact.
Where can they find the bow tie company?
You can find the bow tie www.theboldtie. That's B-O-L-D. Be bold. That's my slogan. Be bold. So theboldtie.com. Instagram at theboldtie as well. And Crenshaw Clark at Crenshaw Clark Financial and CrenshawClarkFinancial.com. So.
All right, what's that particular one you have right
this
there?
This bow tie is called the Crenshaw. For obvious purposes. It's royal blue and gold. So it's Crenshaw. This is Crenshaw bow tie. It's one of my favorites, especially after the whole Nipsey thing. Nip has been in this office before, so it hits home. We grew up in the same community as Nip. So.
That's great, man. So I go by a motto that served me well into what I do, every day. And if you prepare for something, if you care for something, you properly prepare beforehand, right? So if you totally care about something, you're going to make the proper precautions and the proper preparations if needed to execute that. What's a jewel that you'll leave with a viewer that they can carry with them and you affect change in their life?
So I have a couple of jewels that have played major milestones in my life. The first jewel is it's not even a motto, it's just a word, it's just balance. Be balanced. I know it's hard in this society, especially Los Angeles, to be balanced both, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify your life just like you want to diversify your portfolio when it comes to investing. So do things that are out the box, but still do things that you're accustomed to. So balance is key, yin and yang. My pops taught me that. The second one is going to be, I learned this in college. It's a motto actually of the institution: is find a way to make one. Nothing is impossible. You can find a way and make one. It holds true to this day. Another motto that sticks deeply with me is complacency is the enemy of achievement. It's a lot of individuals that if complacency is the enemy of achievement. Put it this way: you can go to the graveyard and you'll find the most ideas in the world, but they're there in the graveyard. Those individuals didn't act on them; they just talked about them. They didn't actually get to put in forth the true passion of their ideas to see it formulate into reality. This right here is formulated into reality. This is just a seed that we had inside of our brain and we watched it grow. And I tell people all that, complacency is the enemy of achievement. And you will only go as far as your discipline will take you. That's real. We can talk so much and say you want to do X, Y, and Z, but if you're not disciplined and truly learning your craft or truly learning what you want to learn to attain that knowledge, because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is what you read inside of a book. Wisdom is what you actually gonna start putting that knowledge to use in real life. And be bold. My last one is be bold. You know what I mean? Be bold. That's my slogan, man. Be bold. So be bold in all you do.
That was great, and we appreciate what you do in our community. And once again, we just want to highlight the acts and the deeds that you do in our community and staying persistent in the direction that you're going, brother. Appreciate
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Black is not a color. We are black because we are the essence from which color comes. Black because we are the first life that came not with the universe, but before there was a sun, moon, and or star. We were there.
You see these guys, they want to be gangsters, but they don't understand the whole ideology of you take the money that you gangsterize and you turn that into real money or money that is legitimate. You feel what I'm saying?